I broke up with my rich boyfriend. Sebastian went silent on the other end of the line for 10 full seconds, then said, I respect your decision, but Joanna, please give me one more chance. Let me take you to dinner. I stayed quiet. He said, 8 tonight, Odin. I'll wait for you. Before we go on, please subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. At 8 sharp, I walked into Odin. For the first time ever, Sebastian wore the gray tailored suit I'd given him, a huge bouquet of red roses cradled in his arms. I took the flowers, hollow inside. Morgan. Once we were seated, I couldn't look away. He really was beautiful, tall, handsome, impeccable taste. Even now, I had to admit, I was still infatuated. Sebastian gave me a gentle smile. Well, do I look good in the suit you bought me? It looks great, I said. But I knew he actually despised it. I'd given it to him more than 6 months ago, and he'd never worn it once. Sebastian hadn't put it on because he thought it was cheap. I'd racked my brain choosing it, gritted my teeth, and forked out 28 grand, my absolute limit, only to pick something he considered beneath him. 28,000 was the ceiling of my world. To him, it was bargain bin fabric. Yet I couldn't blame him. I still remembered the last time I shopped with him. He blinked once and dropped 200 grand on a handbag for me. We ate our steaks in silence. Sebastian set down his knife and fork and suddenly turned serious. Joanna, Morgan you. I couldn't meet his eyes. One more second and I'd cry. He went on. Thank you for coming into my life, Joanna. You're amazing, truly. I like you so much. I kept slicing my steak, listening. Sebastian said, if you change your mind, we can pretend nothing happened and stay together like before. He repeated, I really, really like you. I found the courage to look straight at him. Sebastian, I said, the gap between us is too wide. If not today, then tomorrow, or the day after. We'd split eventually. He laid his hand over mine. None of that matters. What counts is that we treat this relationship with our whole hearts. Even if it ends badly, we'll be able to say we don't regret it. You keep saying you like me. Do you love me? He looked at me solemnly and gave me the answer I wanted. I love you. Then will you marry me? I asked. Tomorrow. He went silent. Slowly, he drew his hand back. I laughed bitterly and raised my glass. Sebastian, a toast to our 1 year. His eyes glittered. The soft lights of the restaurant cast him as the most elegant leading man of the evening. I forced a smile despite the ache in my chest, because I knew that after tonight, he would be someone else's leading man. Sebastian smiled, lifted his glass, and clinked it against mine. A perfect curtain call for our brief year together. The next day, I took 3 days off from work. By the second day of lying at home, Rosie literally kicked my door in. She shrieked the moment she saw me. When she spotted the beer cans carpeting the floor, she looked as if the world had ended. My God, what are you doing? You dumped him, and now you're playing tragic? Get a grip. I shrugged, non-committal. She started cleaning the living room while I went to wash up. I couldn't go on like this. Rosie nagged as she tidied. I swear I'll never understand you. You had a perfect premium boyfriend, and you tossed him. Let's see what you find next. No matter how much she lectured, I stayed unmoved. Being with Sebastian had been bliss. I never had to think about where to go. He arranged everything. Switzerland, Norway, Finland, the Maldives. Or accompanying him to some auction where he'd casually pay hundreds of thousands for a piece worth a quarter of that. To shorten my commute, he even bought a penthouse near my rental. The night we moved in, I honestly felt like Snow White who'd met her prince. The night we broke up, he tried to deed the place to me. I refused. He'd given plenty. To him, it was pocket change. Thanks to Sebastian, at 25 I tasted things far above my station. And for a long time it threw me off balance. I opened the closet for clothes. Rosie had moved on to my family, how I was an orphan, alone in this city, and how I should have clung to a man like Sebastian instead of letting go. My gaze landed on the $200,000 handbag hanging from the closet door. Rosie didn't understand. To me, Sebastian was like that exquisite bag. Wear it, and I looked dazzling, yet I knew I'd never truly owned it. That sense of unworthiness tortured me every single day of that year. After Rosie and I restored the apartment to order, we went out to eat. Mid-meal, she said, "You know what people are saying? That Sebastian dumped you." I scooped rice into my mouth without looking up. Oh, word travels that fast? Thought I'd have a grace period. Rosie asked, "Last night Julian rented out the entire Gold Castle Manor. Did you hear?" I shook my head. Vance is the only force in Eastbrook that can go toe-to-toe with White, and Julian is the crown prince of Vance, Sebastian's lifelong best friend. Rosie glared like I'd lost my mind. It made the news. Apparently, it was Sebastian's bachelor farewell party. I kept my face neutral even as my stomach twisted. Well, he's rich. He can party however he likes. Rosie rapped my knuckles with her chopsticks. I give up. Don't you feel even a scrap of regret? He's Sebastian. Every woman in Eastbrook wants to marry him. I stared at her. Do you honestly think I have the ability, or the luck, to jump class and get the White family's blessing? Rosie's eyes dimmed immediately. Of course she knew. Like everyone else watching the drama, she'd assumed I'd cling to Sebastian with everything I had and wring fame or fortune out of him. What she hadn't grasped is that when the class gap is a chasm, an equal romance is impossible. I rarely texted first because I knew his schedule was insane. New entertaining and networking devoured his hours. When I did accompany him, his friends looked at me as if I were decor, not contempt, just casual indifference. They never asked what I did for a living. They simply assumed I was a pretty vase on Sebastian's arm. Sebastian himself was flawless. In a year, he never criticized me, yet even the smallest offhand remark from him made me instinctively obey. My friends envied me, handsome, loaded, attentive boyfriend. Only I knew how small I felt. Because I understood he held absolute power in the relationship, the right to say over any time. More importantly, his mother had sought me out and spelled out some brutal realities. When we left the restaurant, Rosie patted my shoulder. Honestly, I admire you. You're so clear-headed I feel like kneeling and kowtowing. Go ahead, kowtow, I said. She laughed and tried to choke me. Once the relationship ended, I pulled myself together and threw everything into work. I moved again, from one cramped rental to another. On move-in day, Rosie brought her boyfriend Crane. I cooked a full table of dishes, and we talked till midnight. After clearing the kitchen, I leaned at the window, watching the neon below, and Sebastian slipped unbidden into my mind. 6 months, he hadn't contacted me once. Nor had I. I glanced around the tiny space, exhausted, and flung myself onto the sofa. I thought of Sebastian's vast penthouse, of the way he kissed me with his eyes closed, utterly absorbed. And that bright morning he stood half-naked at the floor-to-ceiling window. I'd just woken when he suddenly said, "You know, Joe, it's wonderful having you here." I could never admit I still hadn't moved on. The contradiction tore at me. I refused to be some rich man's accessory. In the hush of night, I whispered to the empty room, "Cinderella, this is your real world. Wake up, Cinderella." I knew withdrawal would hurt, but I couldn't turn back. I knew what I wanted.
Equality.
A level gaze. Real respect. I jumped ship to Bonner Media. 3 years later, I had solid footing. Word came that Sebastian had started dating someone. Soon after, they split. Then came news that Sebastian was leaving the country. The night before he left the country, he sent me a photo. The person in it was me 3 years ago. I tapped the image, zoomed in with my fingers, and studied the girl's smiling back. The smile was soft, sweet, almost foreign to me now. In the corner of the frame, Sebastian's hand rested on top of my head, the only part of him that made it into the shot. I racked my brain trying to remember when it had been taken, but nothing came. Just as I started to type a reply, my phone rang.
It was my boss, Lana.
It was a brutal night. 3 pitches to finish, a screaming match with production, and a plan B to draft. Lana's call was the usual checkup on deadlines. By the time everything was wrapped, it was 3 in the morning. At 7 sharp, I walked into the office. The project ended perfectly, so Quinn gave the team the afternoon off. I picked up my phone and finally saw Sebastian's messages, plus the answer I'd meant to send the night before. Last night. "Joe, my flight's at 11:30 tomorrow. Can you see me off? This morning. I'm gone. Take care of yourself." The timestamp read 10:50 a.m. I stood frozen for a full minute. For no reason I could name, I grabbed my bag and bolted. Too late. Back home, I told Rosie about the tiny drama. She asked, if you'd answered, if you'd caught him, what would you have done? I laughed. Just wanted to say goodbye, that's all. Then better you didn't, she said. The longer time passes, the more I know you chose right. In these 2 years, the girls orbiting him could fill a chorus line. Who knows how many there were? I smiled and changed the subject. Half day off, wanna roam the city?
Sure.
Rare vacation, let's go anywhere. The moment Lana stepped in, she tossed a folder onto Monica's desk. Monica, good news, landed you a juicy one. Around here, juicy translates to bone only a Rottweiler could crack. Monica flipped it open. Julian's handsome face looked up at me. Lana shrugged off her coat, showing off her perfect silhouette. Crown Prince Julian. Ignore the pedigree, just that swaggering name is worth 2,000 words. Monica and I had started at Bonner the same year. She's killer at the job and lives to tackle the impossible. She flashed an okay sign. I'm on it. But Julian's a nightmare, and Monica bombed the interview. He rang Lana directly. Color me impressed by your professionalism. I'm rethinking this partnership. Lana glanced at Monica's long face and walked toward her office. Vance, I was about to call you. Then she handed the mess to me. Next day, I met Julian. Dylan and I walked in while he lounged in the boss chair, back to the room mid-call. America's nothing next to China. Bro, get back ASAP, and I'll crack a 90 Romanicani for you. The chair spun. His gorgeous grin froze. He stared, then told the phone. Dude, guess who I'm looking at? Whoever it was answered something. Julian chuckled. Your dream girl, my ex-sister-in-law. My pulse spiked. I knew exactly who was on the line. Later, he said and hung up. Who are you people? We're from Bonner, Dylan replied. This is Joanna, head of planning. Julian swung a leg, raising an eyebrow. Fine, let's not waste time. How do you want me? Dylan started to speak. I cut in. Please stand up first. Dylan blinked, shocked. Outsiders don't get Julian. Monica crashed because of this spoiled prince. 99% his fault. We locked eyes for 10 seconds. Then he rose, arms folded. Ex-sister-in-law, no need to open with a grenade. 1 second an iceberg, the next a smirking frat boy. The switch left Dylan speechless. Shoot and interview ran smooth. Afterwards, his assistant produced a phone. We swapped contacts.
His avatar, a dog.
His handle. I'm the king, period. Year 5 at Bonner, I finally made department manager. I also bought my first apartment, 150 square meters, neither huge nor tiny, but mine. That year, Rosie and Crane married with a baby on the way, while I kept marching solo. I'd tried dating, met decent men, yet something always felt off. Rosie hurled a cushion at me. Sis, you're 30, not 25. Can't be this picky. I peeled an orange, stripping the white pith. Premium service for the pregnant. Not picky, just missing something. Define missing. She dug in. CEO Yi, tall, hot, loaded, fell for you at first sight. What's wrong with him? He's 6'3", I'm 5'4", height gap. She swallowed a retort. Fine. Crane's Bud Emery, scholarly clan, 6'2", same height as your unforgettable ex-problem. I kept peeling. He's cultured. I'm vulgar, poor match. She twisted my arm. I yelped, hey, pregnant violence lowers baby IQ. She laughed and sighed. Admit it. None of them are Sebastian. Overstatement. Dead accurate, she said. Crane echoed. Dead accurate. I rolled my eyes. My phone buzzed. King of the world. 8 tonight, Gold Castle Manor. Skip it and you're wanted. Rosie peeked, disgusted. What loser picks that handle? Julian, I said. She switched gears instantly. Wow, epic choice. I typed back. Alex. Rosie whined. Ordinary mortals beg for Julian invites and you just bail? Last interview I treated him like dirt. Who knows what payback looks like? Queen Jo, fierce and reckless, she teased. Crane chimed. Queen Jo, fierce and reckless. I ignored them. 40 minutes later, Julian called. Put on the hottest thing you own and get downstairs. My ride's waiting. I moved to the window. His tangerine Apollo Evio glowed in the street. Rosie waddled over, impressed. Man's got guts. I went. Can't ignore Julian in Eastbrook. I hopped into the passenger seat. Only 2 people in this city get chauffeured by me, Mom and you, he grumbled, stabbing the ignition. Ex-sister-in-law. Feel honored. The engine howled. He whistled, and the car speared into the night. By the time we stopped, I was green, hugging a trash can. Julian looked delighted. Ex-sister-in-law's not so hot now. I fought the nausea. What the hell do you want? You'll see. He passed tissues and told someone. Tea for rinsing. Sit tight. I followed him inside. He left me to mingle, glancing back like I might bolt. Lights dimmed. The crowd drifted center stage. Julian took the mic beneath the spotlight, calm as a maestro. Then, after a light cough, he said, Tonight, I'm overjoyed because my best friend is back in the country. My heart lurched. In my mind, his best friend could only be Sebastian. The hall's carved European doors swung open, and Sebastian stepped in, elegant, poised, every eye upon him. The room fell dead silent. Only the measured click of his leather soles on marble echoed. Perfect rhythm. The lights shifted again. This time, the beam found me. Every gaze locked on my face, including Sebastian's as he walked slowly toward me. What made me dizzy was that he wore the gray tailored suit I'd bought him years ago. Julian's voice rang out from somewhere. Welcome home, old white. Thunderous applause broke loose. Sebastian's tall frame stopped in front of me. He stretched out those familiar hands and, gentle as ever, murmured, Joanna? Smiling, he said, Long time no see. I hadn't meant to offer my hand. But the string section began. Lights flickered moodily, and the air turned intimate. Couples paired off and glided onto the floor. The instant our fingertips brushed, I jerked back. Sebastian didn't let me run. He caught my hand and held it tight. In that second, the world shrank to just us. He led me into the swirl of dancers. Shadows and lights wove together. I looked up. His face seemed almost unreal. A radiant smile curved his lips, his warm voice at my ear. Joanna, you haven't changed a bit.
The car stopped outside my building.
I reached for the door, locked. I looked at him and laughed. White isn't about to reenact some soap opera comeback for his lost love, is he? The remark caught him off guard. He blinked. The woman at the gala and the sharp one beside him now felt like strangers. Truthfully, seeing him again had stunned me. For a moment, I'd slipped from 30 back to 25, or fallen into a dream. But dreams end, and the Sebastian before me now faced 30-year-old Joanna. He composed himself, more practiced than the mask I wore. Joanna, I came back for you. That's the truth. I met his gaze. But I'm not the Joanna you knew. I know.
I'm still me, though.
He didn't understand. The man I was leaving was the very Sebastian of back then. It meant we were already over. He thought I still pined for the dazzling 25-year-old him. Understandable. Who doesn't adore the golden boy? Just like his greeting. You haven't changed. He wanted the old Joanna back. In other words, the one he loves, the one he misses, is 25-year-old Joanna. Yet the day I ruthlessly broke up with him, I killed that girl. These years, not even ash remains. Nice to see you again, I said, but this isn't the time for nostalgia. I glanced at the lock. Sebastian smiled. The doors clicked open. I stepped out. Back inside my apartment, I felt hollowed out. Rosie was right. The reason I couldn't accept any man was that none of them were Sebastian. One brief glimpse had drained me. I pressed my palms to my face, trying to erase his image. I couldn't. That night, I didn't sleep. Next morning, heavy makeup hid the circles, and I walked into the office immaculate. Cool, distant, untouchable. Dylan handed me a folder. Joe, I worked overnight. Per your request, here's a report on Eastbrook's hottest up-and-coming power players. I took it into my private office.
He brought me a coffee.
I thanked him and flipped the file open. My eyes fixed on the man on the cover. Different from before, Sebastian looked reserved, polished, magnetic. Undeniably exceptional. When I didn't turn the page, Dylan said, "That's the White's new heir, Sebastian. He ran their overseas arm for years, just got back." He watched me. "He's my pick for this issue's lead." I sipped the coffee and set the file down. Ambitious plan. Remember the Julian cover that owned the trending list for a month 2 years back? I asked. He answered at once. "Of course. That was all you, Joe." I lifted a hand to stop the flattery. Since Lana transferred to the affiliate as VP, I run the team and strategy. But I still respect her. Even now, I wouldn't guarantee I could land Julian. "That was VP Young's coup," I said. "How long have you been here?" "3rd year." I closed the folder. Good eye and good intel. Persuading Sebastian won't be easy. I handed it back. "You pitched it, you own it. Feel up to it." Dylan beamed. "A buddy of mine went to school with him, and they still talk. I can get an intro, should be fine." "Good. Let me know when you score the win." As soon as he left, I dived into work, keeping my mind full. At 10 that night, I finished 2 concepts, stretched, packed up, and left. Down in the garage, headlights flashed, followed by a soft honk. Sebastian stepped out. "Manager Hart, care for a late bite?" I knew the hour, but still checked my watch. "Does White always dine this late?" A wider smile. "I've been waiting 2 hours. You're busier than I thought." I skipped small talk. "Where to?" He twirled his key fob. "Follow me, you'll see." Past 10, 2 lone adults heading out equals one thing: an adult gamble. I studied him. Afraid I'd refuse, he challenged. Scared. "Manager Hart?" I dropped my keys into my purse, walked to his car, and let him open the door. Once we pulled out, he asked, "Remember how we first met?" I chuckled. I try to forget. I was 24, new on the job, dragged to a client dinner, forced to drink. Waiting alone for a cab, I climbed into his Ferrari by mistake. Now it sounds absurd. Who mistakes a supercar for rideshare? "Honestly, I thought you staged it. Girls hit on me all the time." He steered smoothly. "But you passed out cold, so I took you to the precinct." When Rosie collected me, she gave Sebastian a long look. Later she said, "Sending you to a police station?" I'd have understood a gutter. But the precinct. "Morgan, bless you." I was tabloid fodder the next day. "Thanks to you, copycats tried the stunt. None succeeded." He turned the wheel. "These 2 years abroad, Julian kept bombarding me with news about you. I watched plane trees streak by." "Oh." He said you'd reinvented yourself, that your glare could kill. "Tell Vance I'm flattered." Sebastian went quiet. He parked outside No Save Diner, but didn't move.
Yo.
The old endearment slipped out. I waited. He parted his lips, then lost his nerve. Finally, he simply leaned over and unclicked my seatbelt, the way he used to. 2 cocktails, a few sentences, then silence. He kept studying my profile, gaze dropping to my bare ring finger. Only when he dropped me at my building did I realize the trap. My car was still at the office. Tomorrow, I'd be on the subway. He smiled. "I'll pick you up in the morning." "No need. I'll take the train." He said, "Your shift starts at 9, but you're usually at your desk by 8:30. Going by your old routine, you'll probably be up around 6. I'll be here at 6:30 tomorrow morning." I stared at him. "No wonder they call you White. Homework done already." "That's Vance's detective work. I can't steal his credit." No one would believe that the 2 most famous tycoons in Eastbrook are bending over backward for an ordinary woman like me. My voice oozed sarcasm. Sebastian only replied, "Because you're worth it." Before I could fire back, he drove off with maddening ease. The next day I deliberately got up early and left before 6, only to find Sebastian leaning against his car, waiting. He pulled open the passenger door, his triumph written all over his face. I climbed in, knowing when to pick my battles. Once I was settled, he handed me a paper bag. Inside, plain porridge and a few pickled vegetables. I said, "Wait, you seem to have a lot of free time." "Not really, just wrapping up handovers at a dozen companies." "Busy, but fulfilling." "I didn't ask for your resume." He flicked his eyes from the road long enough to change the subject. "You look like you didn't sleep." "Thanks to you." He grinned. "The honor is mine." I thought. Shameless bastard. When we reached Kibo, I ate the breakfast he'd packed while sitting at my desk. After the morning meeting, Dylan knocked. Joanna. White declined. I kept flipping yesterday's analytics. I believe you had a plan B. I do, but I looked up. He swallowed. If we downgrade, the impact drops by half, maybe more. I set the file down. So, you want me to fix it? He lowered his head. I found out you, and White used to. I gave a cold laugh. I underestimated you.
I'm sorry.
I turned away. You're off my team. HR after lunch. Dylan panicked. Joanna, please, one more chance. I hate repeating myself. He slunk out. What I didn't know was that Dylan had already slipped the proposal to Chairman Joe. By the time he finished his transfer, Joe summoned me. I walked out of the executive suite with a new assignment: land Sebastian within a week. The moment I stepped back into the bullpen, keyboards became the only sound. Next morning, I marched my crew to Kibo. According to Sebastian's calendar, he was chairing a board meeting. I had his secretary pass the note without my name attached, Avery, and waited 3 hours in the guest lounge. He finally appeared. Sorry, Joanna. Had I known, I'd have walked out mid-vote. He sat at the head of the long table, an ocean of polished wood between us. I'm here on Bonner business, I said. We'd like you for our Mogul's cover story. I'm not interested in press right now. A private visit? Anytime. No point fencing. I stood, crossed to him, offered my hand. A pity. White's 2-year U.S. run was dazzling. I thought you'd want your hometown to see the spotlight. His fingers closed around mine.
Too swamped.
Maybe later. Long game, remember? The last phrase sounded like a vow, but I latched onto the word swamped. Seeing his CEO mask, I couldn't resist. If you're that busy, quit wasting dawn on romance. 6 a.m. stakeouts? Think of the shareholder value you could create. He flashed teeth, brows arching. Some things outperform the market. I'm 30, Joanna. I've already wasted years. Now I'm all in. At last, the real agenda. I let go, smiling. I'll teach you what overplaying your hand means. He called after me. That term's not in my dictionary. I kept walking. That night, I burrowed under paperwork until my phone buzzed. Sebastian. Heard the board chewed you out. Mood? I typed. Manageable. He rang at once. Know why I turned you down today? I rubbed my temples. Spit it out, White. You could have asked off the clock. I'd have made time. Water under the bridge, Sebastian. I used his name like ice. If you'd wanted in, we wouldn't be here. I'm not calling only about that. His voice filled the quiet room. Sometimes I still couldn't read him. He'd grown trickier. Go on. I owe you an answer from the night we split 5 years ago. I scanned my memory and came up blank. Sebastian said, I will, Joanna. Hear me? I will. Well, what? Then it surfaced. So, would you marry me tomorrow? My silence spooked him. Joanna, I want to marry you. We're discussing business, White. Not anymore. He kept going. After you dumped me, pride chained me. I even dated a girl who looked like you until I realized no copy is the original. I want you. His midnight voice made it feel dangerously true. I was young and arrogant, but you taught me. Still, I couldn't forget you. I love you. I listened without a word. You won't quit until you win, he sighed. So I flew overseas and proved myself, took the conglomerate, seized control. Your point. I cut in. Mother visited you back then. The night before I left, I confronted my parents. She said if I earned the crown, she'd stay out of my life. Now, no one can tell me no. I choose my wife, and I choose you. Pretty sure of yourself, I shot back. What makes you think I haven't fallen for someone else? Julian keeps me posted. Any breeze, I'm on your doorstep. I had nothing. So I'm asking properly. Marry me? Be Sebastian's only missus. Next noon, he rang Chairman Joe. The moment Joe hung up, he burst into my office, beaming. Joanna, miracle worker. White just agreed to the cover. I stayed flat. Our brand power convinced him. He told me himself. Your professionalism bowled him over. Honestly, I was clueless. For the next week, we were inseparable. He charmed the lens, every frame oozing Silver Fox billionaire heat. I stood behind the camera, heart skipping with everyone else's. Yes, I felt it, but starting over? Harder. Years had taught me to run my life solo. Scrap that for an uncertain us. I wasn't brave enough. Joe. Sebastian walked over, fresh wardrobe. You've been zoning out. I was thinking I owe you dinner, I said. Even better. Cook it for me. Lucky man. My kitchen game had leveled way up since 5 years ago. He delivered a verdict on every course and finally awarded a perfect score. If 10 is full marks, tonight's dinner is a 10+1. I said, 10 is the limit. Where did the extra point come from? Sebastian laced his fingers and looked at me solemnly. With me, you'll always be 1 point above perfect. I stood to clear the dishes, but he beat me to it, stacking everything with quick efficiency and marching into the kitchen to wash pots and pans. I lingered behind him. Do you usually do this at home? His long fingers were submerged in sudsy water, the motions anything but clumsy. I rarely eat at home. Since I got back, Julian has dreamed up endless excuses to feed me. Tonight might be the first meal since my return that actually felt comfortable. I didn't answer. I settled on the couch and turned on the TV. When he finished, he scooped his suit jacket off the chair back. Well, I should get going. I walked him out. While we waited for the elevator, he asked, "These years alone, have they been hard?" I shrugged. Not really. Just life. The stairwell had motion sensor lights, but the elevator was slow, and the bulb clicked off. Normally, I'd stamp my foot, clap, or call out so the light would flare back on, but this time I didn't. The car finally arrived with a ding, flooding the corridor with brightness. I started to turn toward Sebastian when a shadow closed over me. He cupped my face and kissed me, hard. The doors slid shut, trapping us in that narrow box, mouths still locked. Or rather, I was trapped receiving his frantic kisses. After a moment, he let me go. I wiped my lips, breath ragged. Have you lost your mind? No one had pressed a floor. The elevator stayed where it was. I jabbed the button for the garage, then instantly regretted it. He just forced a kiss on me. Why was I still seeing him out? Sebastian's face was dark. I lost it the day I flew back. I stepped away until my back met the wall, eyes fixed on the floor numbers. He moved closer. I threw out an arm to stop him. He kissed me again, stubborn, crazy, until I slapped him. He still yanked me against him, voice raw. Joe, please don't be so stubborn.
Give me a chance.
He was unraveling. I'd never seen him unravel. My mind went blank. I didn't know how to react. What do I have to do to make you say yes? He mumbled, all grievance. Eastbrook had been raining for days. My car was in the shop, so I'd been taking the subway. At 7 that evening, I left the office under an umbrella and strolled along the slick sidewalk. By the time I sensed someone tailing me, it was too late. Before I could even glance back, a black hood dropped over my head. I struggled, but my arms were wrenched behind me. I'd been abducted. The van zigzagged. I had no idea how long or how far. I stayed calm, preparing myself for whatever came next. They shoved me into a strange room and tied me to a chair. When the hood finally came off, 2 hulking men stood before me. Thug 1 growled, "Know why you're here?" I shook my head. Thug 2 said, "We want 5 million. I don't have that. How much do you have?" I asked, "And if I can't produce it, we kill you." I went quiet. Even if Rosie sold her place, she couldn't scrape together that kind of money. One snapped, "Cat got your tongue? Show some respect. Most people scream their lungs out." I sighed. "Big brother, I'm a lone woman, tied up. I can't run, can't fight. What's the point of pointless struggle?" 2 nodded. "Wow, she's got a point." 1 smacked him. "We're kidnappers. We don't do logic." I tried reasoning. 5 million is impossible. Can we bargain? How much less? Maybe 4 million less? 1 exploded. Not a single dollar off. People need flexibility. Kill me, and you still get nothing. Then borrow it. That's the loud.
Sure.
So, Avery, I called Julian. The second he saw my name, he knew the gig was up. Sis, stick to the script. You're supposed to call the hero, Sebastian. Why ring me? I'm cast as the mob boss. You're killing me. Blame Julian for hiring amateurs. When they bagged me, they actually cushioned my head, and when the rope was too tight, they loosened it and retied it comfortably. Plus, their dialogue had more holes than a fishing net. I hissed, "Fun's over, untie me." Still, Julian blustered, "No way, my scene isn't finished." Through gritted teeth, I asked, "What exactly do you want?" Julian barked at the pair. "Morons, make it real. Gag her so she can't talk." Then he added, "But don't hurt her." Thug 1 dialed Sebastian right in front of me. "Is Joanna your woman?" A stunned beat. "Yes." 1 snickered and growled, "She's with us. 5 million cash if you want her back." Sebastian demanded, "Let me hear she's okay." "No time. Believe it or not. 1 hour, no cash, she's dead." Honestly, who can raise 5 million in cash in an hour at night? Sebastian went silent. 1 lost patience. "Save her or not. Otherwise we sell her off, then good luck." Sebastian snapped, "Send the address." "I'm coming." 40 minutes later, Sebastian strode in, dragging a bruised Julian. Julian, one eye swelling, yelled at the thugs, "What are you staring at? Untie the lady." Sebastian's face was arctic. After checking I was intact, he seized Julian's collar. "This happens once. Only once." He didn't finish the threat. Julian grinned. "Never again. Next time I'm a dog." Sebastian let go. I glared daggers at Julian. He whined, "You two are unreal." Sis calls me. Big bro barges into my house, demands 5 million, and punches me if I refuse. He touched his swollen cheek and raged at the goons. "Couldn't you have asked for a few extra hours?" 1 hour. Where am I supposed to conjure that kind of money, idiots? Sebastian slipped an arm around my shoulders and bent to murmur, "Joe, let me take you home." Starting the next morning, Sebastian sent red roses to my desk at 9 sharp. A month later, he invited the city's press to Gold Castle Manor and proposed in front of the cameras. I thought of everything, past and future, while flashbulbs exploded and the crowd buzzed. His sincerity shone brighter than it had 5 years earlier. He said, "Morgan, you gave me 5 years to find myself and prove my worth. Please give me a chance." That night of the kidnapping, he'd already asked once beneath my apartment, the wind quiet, shadows shifting. The world shrunk to just us. I watched him until his voice cracked in plea, the most humble I'd ever seen him. Right on cue, his mother rang, apologizing for her rudeness 5 years ago and begging me to give her son another chance. I hung up and told Sebastian calmly, "Sebastian, I won't accept a proposal like this." He shot to his feet, joy flooding his face. "I was thoughtless. My Joanna deserves the very best. I'll ask again properly. Wait for me. Wait for me, Joanna. Thank you for staying to the end. P.S. I know many hoped for a self-made queen ending where she walks alone, but Joanna has always loved Sebastian. Maybe she never pictured this outcome, yet every step she took was so she'd never be belittled, and she succeeded. A strong heroine is inspiring, and a strong heroine winning love can be beautiful too. Julian's story is already written, and it overlaps magically with Joanna's. Step over to the vanished Cinderella. Cinderella meets the rake. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed, like and share. Tell us your thoughts below, subscribe for more tales, and see you next time.